his pounds. But will he continue competing or yield to a new breed? The lack of new talent in 1992 and a drop-off in amateur bodybuilding contests has been attributed to anything from the poor national economy, since bodybuilding's not a cheap sport, to the bad reputation it's gotten by law enforcement's crackdown on steroid usage. But with the economy picking up steam and a shakedown of the few who gave it a bad name, bodybuilding seems poised for a major recovery. Even some of the sport's best musclemen are planning a return to the posing deals. In fact, 2 Mr. Americas are back in the gym, packing on size again. 1990 Mr. America Pete Miller is already up to 260 pounds. The 5'8" champion beat a lineup of America's best in his first attempt, sporting amazing overall size and muscle quality. He's training at the Olympia Gym in downtown Chicago, a favorite spot for West Side Chicago bodybuilding talent. The other Mr. America is the mysterious Richie Beretta from Philadelphia, also a winner in his first try at the 1987 America title. As the medium heavy class winner, Richie even beat the medium tall class winner Vince Taylor, who 5 years later went on to win the champions. Making their way to the national scene that have created major concern in amateur bodybuilding circles are the likes of Mike Francis. He made his entry into the national media first here on Muscle Magazine, and then at the '91 Chicago Muscle Mania by winning the overall title. Last year, the 265-pound off-season Francis placed in the top 5 at the NPC USA in Santa Monica and will return again this year. But Francis isn't the only one to shake things up at the USA this year. Take a look at Texan Craig Titus, a confident 5'8" powerhouse that startled the crowd at the '91 Ironman Championships. Since then, Craig has amassed nearly 20 pounds of muscle. And with the guidance of Houston nutritionist Keith Klein, Craig just may be the next amateur to turn pro. But when you see Canadian Rick Paget, you soon realize that the Yankees don't have a lock on becoming professional bodybuilders. Rick truly has the kind of size and shape that judges will always place above a less gifted but better conditioned bodybuilder. He has won many regional events and plans on competing as a heavyweight in 1993, a full 25 pounds more than his last contest in 1991. Also, don't forget Mr. Massive, Phil Hernon from Fresno, California. This bodybuilder is truly amazing with 230 ripped contest pounds of muscle packed on his 5'7" frame. Phil was completely overlooked at last year's NPC Nationals. He has nothing less than a top 5 national heavyweight body, but wasn't even seated in the top 15 comparisons. When the prejudging audience realized it, they encouraged Phil to pose off stage in back of the audience, creating nearly as much attention as the prejudging itself. Why the judges booted Phil is still a mystery, but 2 things are for certain. He's one of the most amazing bodybuilders to hit the scene in years, and the officials won't be able to continue snubbing him too much longer. A guy who barely beat Phil at training with WBF pro Troy Zuccolato at the World Gym in Lake Forest, California. So he's getting good training and nutritional guidance. Dennis first made his national presence known after winning the '91 San Diego Muscle Mania and is preparing for the USA again in Santa Monica. They have a 26-inch waistline, but when it's on a 5'9", 205-pound bodybuilder, genetics is the first word that comes to mind. Take last year's Philadelphia Musclemania champion Steve McLeod from Maryland. Like Tavita, Steve's small bone frame gives him the appearance of weighing 20 to 30 pounds more. But look for him to weigh in just under 230 pounds. Obviously, the class of teenage national champion George Betancourt from Miami Beach. Hurricane Andrew scratched his plans to compete at last year's Nationals in Orlando, but George is expected to strike gold as a middleweight at the USA. Time will tell if his body shape can conquer over national level size. Another newcomer is an American Samoan named Tavita. At last year's Southern California Championship, he weighed only 178 pounds. But despite his 5'8" height, Tavita looked nearly 200. Now he's up to 230 and plans on competing over 210 at the California State Championships. Most women would be happy to have.
And he was very nice. He was very helpful when it comes to
Seattle, and had the crowd screaming with his dense muscularity and Tarzan-like long hair. Physique photographers all rushed to arrange shoots with this exotic-looking Filipino. Like Roger Stewart and Mike O'Hearn, Romeo has Muscle Magazine cover written all over him. He isn't just a handsome model type, he also has the physical potential to earn his pro card eventually. Runner-up in the heavyweights was former Mr. Israel, Ofer Samra. With great shape and symmetry, he could probably do better in bodybuilding if he only focused on training rather than acting. But do you really think he regrets appearing in Arnold's latest movie, True Lies?
I met Arnold the first time in True Lies, and he was very nice. He was very helpful when it comes to acting or anything, and I had a lot of fun working with him and a lot of experience.
The heavyweight winner was Steve McLeod, who flew across country from Maryland to compete in the Amateur Grand Prix. Quite rare in the sport of bodybuilding.
To be quite honest with you, I don't consider myself the typical bodybuilder. My mild-mannered ways is just the way I've always been. In the gym, I'm quiet too, although I have an intense way about training, and I feel I'm quite disciplined, and plan to keep doing what I'm doing.
You're keeping your protein very high.
It's always a hard part for everyone, and at least you get some shape to the muscle. And like I say, I notice a lot of things when I do this stuff. I mean, I'm watching people. When I watch guys ride, you can see just huge calves popping out. I go, well, maybe that's the way to get some calves here, though. So start using those toe clips a little bit differently.
Abel Sabrell began training and easily dominating the heavyweight class was Pleasanton, California native Skip LaCour, who you may recognize from TV coverage of last year's Musclemania Natural Championships.
And again, that rest period is going to vary depending on Wheeler, Mr. USA.
You know it.